Hello friends, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be looking at the first 50 years of the Roman Empire. We gonna include all the emperors in this period and also take a look at some of the big events that occurred during this time. So let's get into it. Starting with Augustus, who reigned from 27 BC to 14 AD, he was the first emperor of Rome, and he came to power by defeating his rival Mark Antony in a civil war. The Julio-Claudians were now in control of Rome, and Augustus reorganized the entire state. His rule is considered the epitome of the period known as the Golden Age of Rome. He reformed the tax system, established the Praetorian Guard, defeated the rebel king of Armenia, and expanded the empire's borders. He was responsible for many public works projects such as the Forum of Augustus and the Temple of Mars. He also commissioned the building of the Pantheon, which would later be finished by Hadrian. Although it is uncertain whether he was responsible for the building of the famous mausoleum that still stands today and was originally called the Monumentum Ai, or AIs, in its entirety. Next up, Tiberius Caesar, the second emperor, ruled from 14 to 37 AD. He succeeded Augustus as the ruler of the Roman Empire, and he was the stepfather of Caligula. Initially, he appointed his close friend and advisor Sejanus to manage the affairs of the empire while he retreated to the island of Capri. However, after Sejanus' suspicious death, Tiberius took full control of the government again and became increasingly paranoid. He was known for his cruelty and sadism, and he executed many senators and influential figures on false charges. In his later years, he isolated himself on the island of Capri, where he lived with his elite bodyguard unit, the Praetorian Guard, and indulged in debauchery and pleasure-seeking. During his reign, the empire experienced both prosperity and turmoil. On one hand, there was a flourishing of arts and literature, and the economy was relatively stable. But on the other hand, Tiberius's paranoia and brutality created a climate of fear and uncertainty. Caligula, the third emperor, had a very short reign. Lasting only 4 years, from 37 to 41 AD, he was infamous for his excesses and debauchery. He chained women to chariots like horses and whipped them as they pulled him around. One of his most infamous acts was unleashing poisonous snakes into the audience at the gladiator games and watching with amusement as the crowds panicked and fell victim to poisonous bites. His misadventures and erratic behavior made him deeply unpopular with the Roman populace. However, his achievements included the construction of the Temple of Minerva and the completion of the aqueduct that brought fresh water into the city. Next, we have Claudius, who ruled from 41 to 54 AD. He was the uncle of Nero, and he was initially considered unfit to rule due to his physical and mental disabilities. However, he proved his detractors wrong and became a capable and efficient emperor, reorganized the administration, reformed the army, and expanded the empire. Claudius conquered Britain and annexed it to the empire. He also introduced significant reforms to the Roman law and justice system. Additionally, he initiated infrastructure projects such as the Flavian Amphitheater, now known as the Colosseum. Despite his accomplishments, Claudius was assassinated by his own wife, Agrippina the Younger, who wanted her son Nero to become emperor. Now comes Nero, who ruled from 54 to 68 AD. He was notorious for his tyranny, extravagance, and cruelty. While Nero enjoyed a great deal of success early on in his reign, during the Great Fire of Rome, he took advantage of the disaster to seize more power and wealth. He blamed the fire on Christians and persecuted them brutally. He also engaged in excessive spending and debauchery, which led to financial ruin. In addition to his domestic policies, Nero's foreign policy was characterized by aggression and overreach. Launched a campaign against the kingdom of Parthia, but it ended in defeat and humiliation for Rome. Eventually, its excesses and unpopularity led to a revolt by his own grandmother, Julia Maesa, and he was forced to commit suicide. Moving on to Galba, who reigned from 69 to 70 AD, he was the first emperor of the Flavian dynasty. Galba came to power in the midst of the Year of the Four Emperors, a turbulent period when 4 emperors held the title in quick succession. After the fall of Nero, Galba seized power in Rome and began to address the financial crisis that had been caused by Nero's extravagance. He also attempted to restore stability and order to the empire. However, his efforts were met with resistance from various factions, and he was eventually assassinated by his own Praetorian Guard. Otho, the next emperor, had an even shorter reign than Caligula. He ruled for only 3 months in 69 AD. Otho came to power following Galba's assassination, but he was challenged by another claimant, Vitellius. This led to the civil war known as the Year of the Four Emperors. Vitellius emerged victorious, and Otho took his own life. Finally, we have Vitellius, the last emperor of this period, who ruled from 69 to 79 AD. He was proclaimed emperor by the Praetorian Guard after the deposition of Otho. Vitellius faced a rebellion led by Vespasian, the future founder of the Flavian dynasty. The conflict culminated in the Battle of Badra, where Vespasian's forces were victorious. Vitellius was executed by Vespasian, bringing an end to his brief imperial reign. So moving on to the year 70 AD, we have the Jewish War. This was a major conflict between the forces of the Roman Empire and the Jewish people. The war resulted in the destruction of the Second Temple in Jerusalem and the subjugation of Judea, which became a Roman province. In 79 AD, Mount Vesuvius erupted, destroying the Roman cities of Pompeii and Herculaneum. This event had a profound impact on the course of Roman history, shaping its culture, economy, and politics. In 80 AD, the Domus Transitoria was completed. This was a project undertaken by Domitian, who aimed to connect the Palatine Hill to the nearby Domsqualen Hill. It involved constructing a series of luxurious palaces and gardens to serve as a residence for the imperial family. In 81 AD, Nerva came to power and marked the beginning of the so-called Good Emperors, a series of emperors who were generally regarded as having brought stability and prosperity to the Roman Empire. Nerva's reign lasted until 96 AD. He was well liked by the people, and he implemented a number of beneficial policies, including the establishment of the Neronian market, a public distribution system that provided food and other necessities to the poor. Trajan, who reigned from 98 to 117 AD, was the second emperor in the line of the 5 good emperors. Trajan's reign was a golden age for the Roman Empire. Under his leadership, the empire reached its greatest territorial extent and enjoyed unprecedented peace and prosperity. Trajan's military campaigns resulted in the conquest of Dacia, Arabia, and parts of Mesopotamia and Parthia. He also initiated major building projects in Rome and throughout the empire, including the construction of Trajan's Column, a massive stone column that was built to commemorate his victory in the Dacian Wars. Hadrian reigned from 117 to 138 AD, succeeded Trajan and continued the tradition of good emperors. Hadrian's reign was marked by extensive travels throughout the empire. He visited Britain, Egypt, and the eastern provinces, where he made significant contributions to Roman law and administration. Hadrian also engaged in extensive building projects, including the construction of Hadrian's Wall in Britain and the Temple of Venus in Roma in Rome. Antonius Pius, who reigned from 138 to 161 AD, was the 4th emperor in the line of the 5 good emperors. Antonius Pius was known for his mild temperament and his commitment to maintaining stability and continuity in the empire. His reign was relatively peaceful and prosperous, and he is often remembered for his wise and benevolent rule. Marcus Aurelius, who reigned from 161 to 180 AD, was the last of the 5 good emperors. Marcus Aurelius was a philosopher king who wrote extensively on Stoic philosophy. He is best known for his personal reflections on the nature of existence, duty, and the pursuit of virtue. His Meditations is considered a masterpiece of Stoic literature. So that brings us to the end of the first 50 years of the Roman Empire. If you found this video interesting, please leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Thank you for watching.